Hey everybody. It's Sunday morning and I'm actually getting ready to go back out collecting specimens for this tank, and I'm just going to say specimens because I don't really know what I'm going to do yet. I'm just going to go out and see what happens. I might catch some more fish, I might catch some more minnows, another crayfish, who knows what I'll come back with, but I'm hoping to bring something back into this tank today just to keep making it more interesting and trying to get it settled into something or other. But I had a few thoughts on my mind before I went out, so I wanted to go ahead and get this shot before I left the house today. First of all, I want to thank everybody for all of the input and all of the quick responses I've got in identifying these fish. I also want to drive home the point I keep making about how I'm no expert on any of this stuff. So to give you an idea of how clueless I am when it comes to all these things, this fish here has been identified as the common bluegill, and I was not even aware of that. I did not know that was a bluegill. That's not what I thought a bluegill was. I'm still hoping to catch one of the fish that I believed was a bluegill because it's a really pretty fish, and I'd like to help, get somebody to help me identify it. This sunfish here is the green sunfish, which is really common around here apparently. And you can already sort of see the different coloration on the fins. So if you watched my video yesterday where I talked about some other fish I would like to catch from this tank, or for this tank rather, I talked about one that had really bright, vibrant, white, yellow fins on it. I thought that was a completely different species, but apparently it is just this species, the green sunfish, and it's the male that is in full spawning colors when it looks like that. So there's really no need for me to get another one of them unless I find one that's real visually stunning and I can just put it in here so we can look at it. The other thing I was informed is that these green sunfish are really aggressive, and I already kind of knew that. So for the long term, I don't know if I'm going to be keeping one of them in here or not. A full-grown green sunfish, if it's as aggressive as I'm remembering them to be in a fish tank environment, they will pretty much kill everything else in the tank or try to eat it or something. They're really, really aggressive fish, and they have gigantic mouths on them for being sunfish. That gives you a little bit of a look at how big its mouth is right there. So this bluegill is pretty timid, so he's not really much of a threat to anybody. I do see him sort of pushing this little tilapia around a little bit occasionally. He'll sort of give him a nudge and get him out of the corner because the bluegill has already sort of decided it likes hiding in this corner. The other thing I wanted to mention was I got my fish confused yesterday. I was talking about this fish and I said I hadn't seen it eat yet. And then I went over and spoke about another fish for a few moments, and I came right back to this fish and explained how I had just seen it eat. So I had to laugh at myself when I saw the video. I reviewed it and saw that I had done that. It's the larger of the fish. It's the bluegill that I have not yet seen eat. This one has been pecking away at stuff. I've seen him pick some stuff up off the bottom. We just saw him go over and check out something. It wasn't food, but he clearly will go grab stuff that's floating by in the water, so no issue getting him to feed. The other thing I want to throw out there, and it may be too late by the time I actually get back this afternoon, I may already have them, but I have an opportunity to get tadpoles, like by the millions. So I don't know whether I want to put any of them in here or not. If they were going to be a natural food source, I would, because it would be cool seeing them in here and seeing them swim around. It would also be really cool being able to give the fish a nice high protein natural food source like that. But I don't know if the fish eat them. And I got to thinking about it while I was out yesterday. You should pay attention to what's going on around you. And as I watched these millions of tadpoles, it struck me as odd that there were no fish in the area just gorging on tadpoles. So I decided maybe it's better to wait and find out whether or not these tadpoles are going to be an effective food source, or am I going to be stuck with a bunch of tadpoles in the tank that are eventually going to grow into frogs that I'm going to have to do something with. So if any of my regular viewers, any of my native tank guys out there have an opinion about little tiny tadpoles, and these are from spring peepers, little chorus frogs. They're tiny little things. The tadpoles right now are about the size of my pea puffers, or maybe even smaller than that. They're like little black dots in the water. So I don't know if they would get gobbled up by the fish or not. So if you have an opinion, let me know about that. And speaking of one of my viewers, I just want to clarify that as well. I had someone the other day apparently took offense at being referred to as one of my viewers, and that's not meant to be offensive or discounting to anybody. I just talk to a ton of people in a ton of different places, and some people go by one name in one location, and I talk to them somewhere else and they go by a different name, and I'm terrible with names to begin with. So for me, it's just simpler to refer to everybody as one of my viewers. It's like when I say the other day. The other day could have been 2 days ago, it could have been 4 years ago. If it's not today, it was the other day. And that just makes it nice and easy for me to not have to worry too much about the fine details. So you will often hear me refer to one of my viewers. And if you're somebody that I've been getting lots of information from and has been helping me out with this tank, please don't think of that as me not giving you credit or anything like that. I regularly talk about how I'm getting my education on this tank from my viewers. So, I'm not the one that's trying to act like I know a lot about this tank, and I'm not trying to steal anybody else's thunder or, why anybody would get upset by that, I don't know, but apparently somebody did, and it certainly wasn't meant that way. And I'm pretty sure now that they are no longer one of my viewers, so they're probably not even hearing this anyway. So for those of you that are still my viewers, don't take that the wrong way, or don't take that as offensive or anything. If you hear me refer to that, that's just simply my way of being nice and easy about just, it was somebody that commented in my videos, it's one of my viewers. It's as simple as that. So with all of that aside, I am going to go out now and try to get me something else here in the tank. And again, if any of my viewers have an opinion on whether or not they think that would be a good idea to put the tadpoles in there or not, I'd love to hear about that. I would also like opinions on sunfish that are not going to be really, really aggressive, and whether or not I'd be able to keep a group of them long term and that sort of thing. People that know more about their specifics and their behaviors. I also was asked the other day why I seem so focused on sunfish and why I seem to talk about sunfish all the time. The short answers is they are really, really easy to catch. They're abundant. They're everywhere. There's a variety of species. They're really bright and beautiful fish, and they don't get huge. So all of those things together make them perfect fish to go in a nice 125-gallon native tank. Something like a bass is really aggressive and gets really large, so eventually it would outgrow even 125. A full-grown largemouth bass can get 14, 15 pounds, depending on, how old they are, where they live, what they have to eat. My friends down in the South, down in Florida, Louisiana, you guys know, you get some big bass down there. And that's not something that could stay long-term in this tank. So the sunfish are just a great fish for being really colorful, really adaptable. They're really hardy. They're almost custom made for being a native fish that you would want to bring home and put in an aquarium. So that's the real reason why I spend so much time talking about sunfish. My prize for this tank, the one that I really, really, really want to get, is a yellow perch. So I think if I get a yellow perch, depending on the feeding situation, I might be able to keep a yellow perch under long-term circumstances in this tank, because they don't get really big either. So we'll see how it goes. Anyway, I'm going to get out of here. Thanks for watching. Make sure you're subscribed. You don't want to miss any of the stuff that I got coming up. Hopefully I'll be shooting some new reveal video later this afternoon. Don't forget, this is my native tank. Thanks again for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you real soon on the next one.